What's up, guys? It's Chelsea Coleman here with Dauntless Performance Horses. Today we have a fun little exciting episode. We've got two horses with us today. We have one Brago, who's the Andalusian Lusitana Percheron, something like that, mix. He's our bolter slash spinner. I had a little incident with him yesterday. He bucked me off twice in 10 minutes, so he gets a gold star. So what we've done today is we've brought him and then another horse named Bruiser. Bruiser is a younger thoroughbred. I think he's coming 7. He got sick, had pneumonia, and then when he got gelded, he went septic and was in the clinic for a very long time. So long story short, his racing career was cut early. He is a Frankel relative, which if anybody knows thoroughbreds, Frankel's like thebomb.com. Very talented horse, super excited about him, but mentally he's still quite young because he hasn't had a ton of working life ahead of him because he got sick. So he is here and Brago is here. Now, Brago is almost in his teens, if not there yet. I believe he's 10 or 12, something like that. And then, like I said, Bruiser is 6 or 7. So they're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. Brago is a big, giant, 17-plus hand, massive, stocky, Dante-like horse, and Bruiser is a decent size, 16-1, 16 hand, pretty decent-bodied thoroughbred. But they have opposite personalities. So Bruiser is our super enthusiastic, go, go, go type of guy. The analogy I give is Bruiser's the guy that runs out of the frat house, smashes the beer can on his head and goes, "Let's go." Brago is the opposite. Brago is very internal, very anxious, wants to think about everything he does. So he's the guy at the frat party that is worried about the recycling. Bruiser smacks the beer can, throws it in the trash, and Brago says, "Hold on, time out. That's recycling. We need to put that can in the recycling." Very, very worried about everything other than the things he needs to be worried about. So we brought them both to this beautiful venue. It's called Majestic Oaks in Ocala, Florida. And what we're gonna do today is we're gonna rope them with a rope halter, regular halter, over some cross-country fences through the water and give them some time to really absorb the environment. Now, Brago needs to see horses work and do things in a casual way so that he can understand that he doesn't have to internalize everything. Everything doesn't mean something. Sometimes it's you just go and chill, right? And Bruiser is very excitable, wants to do the job. He's never gonna not go. He's not really intimidated by anything we've asked of him yet, which we love, but I don't wanna get on him and run him cross country knowing that I have a bit of a driving seat, because in that scenario, if he's anxious or if he's nervous, because he has a personality of I'm just gonna go, he's not gonna think about what he's doing before he does it, he's just gonna go. And we wanna steer clear of that. I wanna give him the opportunity to really analyze the situation and feel things out and process things and think about things, instead of him feeling like I'm just driving him to do it and he's doing it because I asked. I want him to really absorb it. And Brago, he's nervous. So Brago will go out here and be anxious about everything. He'll be anxious about the water, anxious about the cross-country jumps. And we just want to let him know that everything's safe. He can take his time to see things, but we want to broaden his horizons a little bit. Getting on him and riding him, he's very safe, even though I came off of him twice. I came off of him twice yesterday because he dropped his shoulder and spun. Now, I was also bareback. That tells you how safe I know that horse is. He is not a horse that doesn't know his job. He knows his job. He's just been frightened throughout the way because the kitchen sink has been thrown at him, and he's not the kind of horse that needs the kitchen sink thrown at him in an aggressive way. This is his version of throwing the kitchen sink at him in a safe way. We're gonna allow him to walk up to cross-country fences. We've got a longtime client of mine here, Miriam, with one of my favorite horses in the whole planet, Jake. Jake is a perfect horse for these two horses to watch, jump some fences, go through the water, hang out, and just observe. So that's what we're doing here today. It's gonna be super fun, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. So let's get into it.
Our champion now, Chelsea Coleman, Dauntless Courage.
So here's the difference between these two horses, as I touched on earlier, and I'll reconnect to this point throughout our day. This horse was on the trailer, pawing, didn't want to be there. This horse was on the trailer, quiet, just wants to stay in his safe little box. This one's like, what the heck are we doing? Where are we? I want to go do fun stuff. This one appears nervous to the outside eye. This would be the nervous horse. That would be the calm, quiet, cool, collected horse. Opposite. This horse is not nervous. He's excited and just is bored. This horse, and you can tell that because literally was in the trailer acting like a ding dong, wanted out, comes out, immediately starts eating grass. This horse is standing quietly, not doing anything. He blows his nostrils, he'll snort, and he's too nervous to eat. Now, by the size of him, you can tell he's never missed a meal. So for him to decide he doesn't want to eat, that's a sign you got to look for. He's internalizing this whole situation and he's waiting for the ball to drop. In his brain, something bad is going to happen. It's a matter of when. And so we're trying to reprogram that to nothing's going to happen, and don't worry about that. Relax, and it's our job to create your day for you. This horse is like, all right, I got a plan. Let's go here and there and there and this and that. He's ready to go. Both perfectly capable, happy, good horses, just completely opposite ends of the spectrum, and those are things you need to pay attention to that will make your life easier and their life easier working with them. Good boy. So here, it doesn't matter. Here, he's just upset that he's not in the pack. Now, the focus is, I want him to face me. I don't want the circling around, but I also, if he gets excited, I don't want him to strike out and rear. So I've got this just as a barrier, and then obviously my hand. So my goal here is to just let him move when he wants to move, but again, it's a difference of running me over versus if he's overwhelmed and he's uncomfortable. There we go, good boy. Shoulder level. When he starts to get too much past my shoulder, I'm not gonna yank down on his face and make a big deal about it because, good boy, that's how you get horses anxious about being haltered and bridled. They just get very uppity in their head. You can see the difference. This horse she's his comfort zone. So if she's cool, he's cool, right? It's anytime you push him past direct babysitting that he gets uncomfortable. So he's on the rope, he knows he's safe, he knows she's on the other end of the rope, he's good. This horse is so excited to be here to do stuff that me being on the end of this rope, he literally forgets that I'm here sometimes, which is why I brought in a tool for reinforcement. Now, this is not to smack him with. The only time I would make contact with him with this in an aggressive way is if he were to come at me aggressively, which he won't, so that will not happen. Good boy. You can bring him in. Okay, so just a quick point I want to point out. I have no contact on this rope. He's on about a 4-meter circle. So this, as a trainer, I know in my head and with my education and my experience that this means this horse is excited and he wants to go do, but there's a little bit of him, good boy, that says, I'm not 100% sure I know all about this. Now, he doesn't ever want to give me a blatantly outright, I don't know what I'm doing, you're in charge, because his pride is too up for that. And we like that in a competition horse. We want him to be sure of himself. Now, it's a matter of not destroying his confidence, but also balancing the dominance position, right? At the end of the day, I need to have final say of everything, but I want him to be able to make decisions. So there, do I really want him that close to me? No. In theory, you don't want to be within kicking distance of a horse that's anxious, but that's him offering up the information to me that he's maybe not as comfortable as I think he is. He is comfortable, but this, again, like I said at the beginning, that's exactly why we decided to do this, because if I'm on his back with a driving seat, I can push him into anything. And if he has just a little bit of a doubt, he'll put that in the back of his head and go, nope, she said it's fine, I'm going. I don't want to do that. I want him to think. So I want to give him the opportunity on a loose rein to say, we're going to go out, and he decides the size of the circle, right? He doesn't want to be further away from me than this. And when he decides he does, he gets a little nervous, right? So there I'm going to catch him because I know he gets a little nervous there and here. And then I'm just going to, oh, hey, move your butt. There you go. So I didn't have the attention I wanted out of him when I asked for it. So I just asked him to move his butt away from me. Good boy. Now, disclaimer, I am wearing open-toed shoes, shorts, and a tank top. I don't have a vest on, I don't have a helmet on, I don't have boots on. I don't suggest doing that. I am doing that. One, I broke my toe weeks ago, and it hurts to walk around in boots. When I'm not going to be riding, I don't wear boots. Two, I'm going to be walking this horse through the water, and I don't want to walk through the water in wet tennis shoes, so I'm going to go in sandals, essentially. I do not recommend that. Don't do it. Doesn't make me a bad person for doing it. That's just the decision I've made today, and that's what I'm sticking with. So you are always at risk of getting your feet stomped when you're in any type of shoe, even tennis shoes, right? So keep that in mind. Wear proper equipment. This is not proper equipment. This is just what I'm wearing today because I know I'm going to be going through the water. Warmed up to do a couple changes. Good. Yeah, there you go. And just keep that outside leg on so he doesn't break to the trot. Good. Side leg on so he doesn't completely lose power. If he loses speed and power, we get that nasty break to the trot step. Good. Good. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Kick him over. Good, keep that canter, go a little forward. Now bend him right, move him off the right, and then kick him left. There you go, good. Really good, keep that canter nice and forward. Good, yep, keep it, keep it, keep it. Good, round the corner, keep that canter nice and forward. Good, now bend him left, move him left, kick him left. Yeah, good. Good. Very good, outside leg on. Good. Good, leg for support. 1, 2, beautiful. Same ride to this oxer. Good, little outside leg here. Oh. Good. Yeah, there it is. Beautiful. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So just to draw another parallel between the two is this is both of their first experiences, right? But the big difference is training wise with these two horses, this horse pulls quite a bit, like when he gets anxious. We've got a bit guard on the right side of his mouth. Bit guard is essentially just a piece of rubber. It helps, a plain bit guard helps from their bit rubbing their mouth. And then this has a little bit of texture to the inside of it, and that's used for horses that lean against one side of the bit. So this horse, on many occasions, gets to the end of the lunge line and just goes, right? He doesn't yield to pressure. So that's why I'm having Bailey run with him and pop over stuff until I get to a spot. Again, this kind of stuff when you're with him doesn't really bother him. This is just exposure for him. This is jumping education for this horse because he is so ecstatic, exuberant, over exaggerated about everything with excitement behind it. He just needs to know that being here and relaxing is an option, because you get him tacked up, you take him somewhere and he's like, what are we doing? I'm scared. What about this? What about that? So this is essentially just for him to go, okay, I've got the bit in my mouth. I'm getting used to carrying it. I've got the bit guard on the right side anytime he goes to pull right. And then he can see the other horses, see how they're reacting. Jake over there is very quiet, very calm. He's done this a lot. This horse, it's his first time. He's calm and excited, but that doesn't change what we're doing. And that's exactly what this horse needs to see. So when we get to some more scary things like the ditch or the water, I'll take him from Bailey, I'll work him over a few things, and then I'll hand him off, and we'll switch back and forth. So again, if I'm on him and he does that, right? He puts his head down, takes a peek. This is all fine. I'm trying to figure out the pattern of his thought, right? So that was a boundary, right? He's saying, can I go left if I'm uncomfortable? Do I get beat if I decide I don't want to jump it? And we say, no. Why do you want to go left? Send him back out again, tell him it's okay. And there's no effort here on my end, right? Like I'm literally just essentially a post that's holding the end of the rope. And not having to apply pressure. He's not paying a ton of attention on the in-between. Oh, good boy. Now this isn't a jump, we'll jump, good job. We'll jump both directions because it's flagged. We're at a horse show venue, so it's flagged to jump one way. But the point of that is when you're on their back and you're kind of adding pressure from on top, you can push through those moments and not allow them to process mentally. And because of how this horse's brain works, any horse, you want them to be able to process to the fullest. But this horse has so much talent, and I actually think this horse could go all the way. And I want to protect his brain as much as possible in its raw form. I don't want to tie this horse's head down and force him to be quiet and force him to be robotic. I want him to have his exuberance and have his opinion so that I know if I'm galloping around the 5-star at Kentucky one day on this horse, I know when something's not right because I know him so well, because I've allowed him to operate in his natural state as long as possible. So that's the reason why we do things like this. You see how this horse acts on the ground and he acts like he can come unglued? That's not at all what this horse is about. He doesn't want to come unglued. He just wants to get to the point and go and do and do and do. Now, when you're on him and you're adding extra pressure from your seat and your leg and your hand, and there's tack and there's this and there's that, you can overly speed up and kind of push that process along too quickly. Whereas here, he's sweaty, he's anxious, he's whatnot, but he also, because I'm not on his back and I'm just standing next to him, he feels comfortable enough to just chill and look. And eventually, under saddle, no matter where we take him, this is how it'll be. But he's a young horse and hasn't seen a ton. He was locked up in a stall from his injuries, and then he was a racehorse. So there's a lot of stuff that was missed. So that's the reason why we're doing this stuff. Now I'm gonna have Bailey, with Brago, I'm gonna walk him up to the fence and I'm gonna let him sniff it. He's snorty. We know that that's him. Yes. Another thing that's interesting that horses don't get an opportunity to see a ton is his shadow and my shadow are directly at the face of this fence, across the fence. So For a horse like this who internalizes everything, he's gonna notice that every time. This is a horse that might get to the base of the fence, take a peek, and then hop. So I'm gonna step on the fence. Notice how he came straight to me, and now he's asking for some comfort. So the people who say, oh, don't baby him, that's ridiculous. If this horse is saying, I understand what you want, can I have a little bit of comfort? Why would you not give it to him? That's silly. If your horse is asking for some comfort, give him some comfort. Now, I know he is big enough to walk over this, and that's fine. That's why cross-country jumps are solid, right? We call that banking a jump. Now, most horses bank it at the 5-star level, but hey, he can bank it at the starter level, that's fine. Again, this is all about widening his worldly views, right? This is the equivalent to someone taking 5 classes, 5 different languages. Good boy. Good job. You can be the smart kid that's fluent in Spanish, but if you have a brain that is capable of absorbing 5 languages, why not, right? Good boy. Good boy. Oh, good job. Now, Brago likes to be close for comfort. So this kind of stuff makes him uncomfortable lunging around fences, or will make him uncomfortable. So I'm not going to create too much distance because I want him to feel comfortable. I'm also going to show him options. Good boy. Hope. You're good. I want him to know that this isn't a trap, and I don't want him to go over the fence until he wants to go over the fence, right? Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. You can do it. I'm going to give you snuggles in just a second. Good boy. Good boy. Who? Now, you might ask yourself why I made him do it twice and didn't snuggle him after the first time. Good boy. And that's because with horses like this, how confidently he went the first time, I don't want him to think it's a fluke. When horses like this get overly confident and they can startle themselves. You can tell he's worried, right? I wanted him to do it twice so that he knows it's not a fluke. It's something, he did it, he did a good job, he doesn't require anything else out of it. So a horse like this will try and he'll answer the question with 75 different ways of answering the same answer. So we want the same things, and I want to show him that he doesn't have to change his method of action. When he's right, and the saying goes, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? So I want him to know, as far as cat skinning goes, good boy, good boy. And now you can see him pulling a little here. I want to draw him in. Good boy. Hope. Good job. Yes, you did so good. Good. All right, now we're going to move on to the water. Now with these horses going into the water, it's not going to be this big ordeal of, let me let you get used to it. I'm literally just going to march right on in because I know there's nothing to it, and I would like him to follow suit. And I don't care if it takes him 30 years to think about it. That's completely fine. This is not something that he would have any understanding of other than a puddle in a paddock. Giant puddle in a paddock. Good boy. Ooh, who's that handsome horse in the water? I wouldn't drink it. Just a suggestion. Yeah. Oh my gosh, look at the pedicure. Good boy. Good job, Brew. Good work. Good work. Oh yes, kisses and everything. So nice. Now I'm gonna send him around. And you see there, he didn't want to leave the water, right? Good boy. Good boy. Now I'm gonna ask him to leave. Yep, water splashes. That's a thing. You're getting me all wet. Good boy. That angle is coming out. His shadow comes over the bank. So that's, again, just little things that you need to pay attention to as a trainer, owner, rider. Those little things are things you might not notice from every angle, but they do. So you've got to be patient in that aspect. Good boy. Good job, Brew. And I'm gonna give him an option here. Good boy. Good boy. You want some snuggles? He says, don't let my friends see you snuggle me. It's embarrassing. Good boy. Now, I'm just gonna ask him to come up over the bank, but I want him to sniff the bank, come to terms with the bank first. Now, that was just a boundary thing for me. I don't want him, good boy. Good boy. I don't want him stomping on my feet. And that was what I call an abort mission move. So, good job, Brew. Good job. The abort mission move is when you're asking for straightness and you get straight head and neck, and then the head and neck as one move left or right. So that's essentially the spin and bolt that you would feel under saddle. And again, I didn't get after him for it, but I basically said, yeah, we are gonna go straight. I want you to go forward. And he said, yeah, okay, fine. Now, we're gonna go this way. Now this is scarier. So this is, we are very patient at a time like this, right? I'm asking him, he just learned what the water was. Now he gave me a paw there. So I know with him, he paws when he's anxious. Anxious, excited, nervous. Right now, he's anxious. So I'm gonna let him think for a second. That was a dissociative move. He's disassociating with what I'm asking because his energy level started to go up. His anxiety level started to go up. So, again, I'm just gonna, good boy. Now, you can feel this horse with no pressure. He starts to pressure himself. He wants to do it. But again, if I added pressure there, he would have just gone. But when I took the pressure off, he's pawing, he's absorbing. They paw at places like this to see the depth of the ground. When they can't see the bottom of something, they try and find that by pawing. That's the same thing you'll see in a horse trailer when they're going up a ramp. They're pawing to make sure the structure is sound. So if I don't give him the opportunity to analyze, good boy, good job, then he doesn't ever become self-assured. He just becomes completely sure in me and doesn't become sure within himself. And that is the problem everybody makes with their horses. They want their horses to just shut up and completely give everything to them with no self-preservation, no involvement whatsoever. If I lose my reins on cross country and this horse relies on me 1,000% of the time and only me, and I've got no rein, then I'm not jumping that fence. Good boy. If he is taught that he's allowed to process things on his own, I lose my rein on cross country and he sees the flags that he knows he's supposed to jump through, we're jumping the fence. And I can get my rein back, good boy, on the other side. Good boy. Another thing that's interesting about this horse, you won't see me make a big deal out of this horse as much as I do Brago, because this horse doesn't need a lot of snuggles and verbal reassurance is fine, but like physical rubbing, touching, he's not a huge fan of it. So that's me respecting a boundary of his. Good boy. Good job, Brew. It's me respecting a boundary of his so that he understands that I'm compromising with him in the same way that he's compromising with me. Good boy. You're so smart. He likes those kind of things when I tell him he's a typical man. You just have to stroke his ego and tell him he's pretty, and he's happy with that. It's so good you took out the trash. Look at you. Whee, good boy. Good boy. And you see there, I take pressure off. Good boy. Into the water, because I don't want him to get into the habit of leaping into the water. Good boy. And ho. Good job. Now this way. Nope. Good boy. Good job. And he's being smart. This is a good look into this horse's intelligence, right? He's landing in a way that his feet don't touch the water in landing. He's fine with the water, but he doesn't want to land in the water, and that's fine. Nope. Good boy, and that's a boundary there that he's respecting very well. Good job. Which is a change from earlier, right? Good job. Yes. Good boy. Good job. Good. Whee! Good boy. Now after that, that's the first time he jumped into the water. I'm gonna really take the pressure off. Good boy. Who? In the event that was a fluke. Good job. And we got lots of licking and chewing. Good. All right, now we're gonna do a switch off, and I'm gonna take Brago. All right, so with Brago, gonna do the same thing, just cash. Now, I know he likes to be in my pocket, so I'm gonna be careful here. If he gets nervous, the odds, and never let your horse's paw in the water complex, because it does have mesh on the bottom. And if you break the bottom seal, we will have no more water. He is having a nice drink. That's disgusting. So what I was saying, with a horse like this who wants to be in your pocket, that horse would prefer to be away from you in time of distress. This horse is like, you're the two-legged, you drive the cars, you have the brains, I'm following you. If we're in a crisis mode, you're in charge. So, in a situation like this, because they can't see what they're stepping on, if he loses his footing or something tickles his foot or whatever, subconsciously he's gonna jump on top of me. Not because he wants to hurt me, but because I'm his safety. So keep that in mind. That's why, like, first thing I'm coming in here, stopping and standing, letting him drink, all that jazz. Now I'm gonna send him out. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. Good boy. So that was a perfect example of how his brain works. I talked a little bit about it earlier. Escalation is huge with this horse. So if you leave him with nothing, he will come up with something to do. Silence, calm, security doesn't exist in his brain naturally. He can't just stand and stand. He's always processing something. So I sent him out on the lunge, I was walking him, and he's like, surely there's more to this. So he starts trotting, right? I don't engage at all. I don't ask him to stop. I don't ask him for more, I don't put more pressure on. I leave him be until he goes, oh. Now he's stopping and standing, licking and chewing, paying attention. He's not too close. Now he's back to fiddling, right? So keep that in mind, especially when you have a horse like this and you're working him. It's really easy to blow their brains and not realize that you're doing it, because they keep offering to do more and give more, and you keep pushing more, but what that really is a sign of, I'm uncomfortable just being here. So he's filling his time with something else. So I want to make sure at all times I can stop and let him just be. And Bailey has done some liberty work with this horse, so he really understands what pointing and direction and all that stuff is. And what do you know? There you have it, folks. He says, I got this. But you can see this horse is the insecure one of the two, yeah? So, and as I said, I gave him nothing to do, and what happens? He starts coming up with new things, and then he made himself nervous. This horse is the anxious one, right? But he wants to please. He's a people person. So he's going to perform for me without thinking about himself first, because he wants me to approve. That's what this is, right? I didn't stop and say, you did so great. So he's like, was that wrong? I'm gonna add some pressure and go a little more. Well, he goes to go a little more, and then he got anxious, turned around, blah, blah, blah. So we're gonna go here again. Good boy. Good job. Hope. Good boy. Good boy. This is him, metaphorically speaking, waiting for the ball to drop. Good boy. And ho. Good boy. Good job, big man. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. Good boy. You're doing great. Good boy. Good boy. So this is a bit of a boundary push, but again, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, right? Ugh, come on, bub. Oh, you feel powerful now, huh? You got the higher ground. You're good, come on. Good boy. Now, I came down here to show him that it is exitable, meaning I want him to know there's a way out. Now, the other option, which might happen, is I'll get up and send him off. But again, I want him to know that I came down here, and that's the point, right? He's a very visual guy, and he's very connected to people. So I wanted him to physically visualize me walking off of the bank so he knew it's the same scenario as that. Good boy. And he's thinking. You're not jumping off the edge into oblivion. This is same pond. Different dock. Hi. Yeah, you're doing good. You want to come down here with me? Will you please come down here with me? Good job. Good boy. All right, now the determining factor for me getting up or staying down is if he walls himself up and says, yeah, I don't have any more to give you right now, I'm not gonna push that boundary. What I'm gonna do is crawl up. Oh, you're okay. Good boy. Good boy. Nope. Nope. That way. I promise you don't want to go down that one. Nope. Nope. Good boy. Now, there's the brain activation. Nope. 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 Good. Now you've seen he's migrated to the land side of the bank, right? Again, that's me allowing him to think about what he's doing. He needs to start making some decisions on his own instead of just, nope. Good boy. Good job. Good boy. Oh my gosh, you're so smart. Oh, snort it out, bro. Take a drink. Come here. You did so good. You want to come up? Good boy. You want to go down again? Good. Boy. Whoa. So scary. Good job. All right, and up. One more time. Come on. Good boy. Good job. We teach him, 1, he's capable of more than he initially thinks he's capable of. 2, I'm not the big bad wolf that's just gonna micromanage his entire life. And 3, I'm not gonna play mommy and bottle feed him his entire life, right? So that's a very hard line to draw, but because he's been tossed through so many different things, it's important to put him in that situation. You see now, I won't because I got bucked off yesterday, but I could hop on him right now and send him off the edge of this bank and he'd go right off, right? This was the horse that started getting off the trailer and is snorting and is too anxious to eat grass. So that horse, I don't send him up and down the bank because he's the opposite, right? The likelihood of him coming over here, being overly confident, slightly thinking maybe this isn't the scariest thing in the world, but I don't love it. The odds of that horse leaping into the air and scaring himself on landing, super high. Had I landed at the end of the rope and jumped in after that horse, that would have terrified him. This horse knows I'm not gonna hurt him. He knows me, right? So I can send this horse off and get caught by the end of the rope and jump in and be fine. I can't do that with that horse. That would be unfair in his situation. Their brains are opposite. So that's the water complex. Now we'll head to the ditches. All right, so now we're gonna address the ditch. Now this is a jump with no height. Horses typically handle this 1 of 3 ways. 1, they don't care at all. They jump it like it's a hole in the ground, which is exactly what it is. 2, they launch over the top of it because they are so focused on the lack of height and notice the depth. Or 3, they panic and think there's no way possible, they can't get over it. So I'm gonna walk over it with him. Now you wanna stay out of the way because if they do launch, good boy. There, had I been in front of him, he'd jumped right on top of me, right? So before I take the flags down, I'm gonna walk over it with him. Good boy. Good job. Now, I'm not gonna make a huge deal. Like a lot of people, they'll pop over the ditch and they'll yank him around and stop him. I don't care that he's kind of noodly with his body. All I care about is that he has no anxiety about this ditch, right? So, and there he's looking for a way out. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. Now, depending on the horse you had he not had any reaction to that at all and just popped over it, I'd then send him over this one and then send him over that one. I'm not gonna do that with this horse today because he's showing that he's willing and he'll do it, but he is thinking about it before he does it, which we wanna encourage that. And he's eating, so clearly he's comfortable. Whoa. Good job. No, we're not gonna do that one yet. Good boy. You're very extra. And we love you for it. Good boy. And this is just me. I just said I'm not going to send him over this ditch. What I mean by that 100% is I'm not going to say you have to jump this, right? I'm going to let him sniff it, come to terms with it, back up, snort, go sideways, go left, go right. I'm going to stand on the other side of this, and I'm going to allow this to happen, right? Because this, we don't get this kind of stuff out of him very often. He's looking at me like, hey, what do I do here? And I want to encourage him to do this. Has nothing to do with him going over the ditch. He will jump a ditch. He's proven that, right? Good boy. And he's feeling for depth. Good job. Good boy. And we're gonna reinforce the confidence by bringing him back to this one. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Now you can see I let him go up to this once, right? And the anxiety rose. When he was jumping across this, the anxiety level was pretty standard, very low, very minimal. Now I've allowed him to make a decision, and he's worried himself, right? So that's exactly the situations you want to be able to put them in. Is he doesn't need to jump this today. Should he pop over it on his own, that's fine. I'm not going to ask him to. I'm going to see the way his brain works in situations like this, which is he's curious. Note taken. All right, now we're going to switch. Good boy. Now, there's two types of horses, right? That type and this type. The launcher, leaper, I will not touch. This horse that is very willing to put his foot in and out. I love a horse that'll put their foot in a ditch. Now, for the Karens who say, don't teach them to put their foot in the ditch, you're gonna flip over that way. They're not stupid, right? Beginner novice ditch that's 6 inches deep is a whole lot different than a 4.5 foot deep preliminary ditch, right? So, teaching this horse to be comfortable with things like this is exactly how you can teach them going forward. See, and he figured that out, right? I can teach him going forward by allowing him to process things on his own. He didn't like the feeling of being in the ditch, going that direction, coming back, doesn't mind it, right? And with some speed, and he sees me hop over it, good boy. Now, this horse, I 100% will ask to step over this ditch. Now, I'm gonna do it very similarly. I'm gonna step over here, good boy. And that's fine. He needs to be allowed to have the opportunity, or be given the opportunity, to do that. Good boy. Good job. Good boy. I can't jump across this one. Good boy. And that was snorty and scary and totally fine. Ugh. Good boy. You can see with this horse how monkey see, monkey do he is. When you got a horse like this, and you're a very physically, if you're a very nonverbal person and you like to do tons of physical blah, 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 that's how this horse gets really messed up, right? Everything you do, he watches. He is prey, predator driven more than most horses that we encounter, meaning he understands his place in this world. And he understands, because of the life he's had up until Bailey got him, that he is not safe with anybody. So he observes his environment and he reacts accordingly. When I jump, he jumps. When I step in, he steps in. That's the importance of being able to regulate your emotions and control your anger and your sadness and all of that stuff. When we say leave it at the barn door, that's what we mean. All right, guys, so that's it for today. That's our little in-hand cross-country roping session. Hope you guys got lots of good information out of that. As always, before we end our episode, we want to thank all of our sponsors: equine, dog, horse, cat, everybody that supports us. We couldn't do it without you, all the amazing clients we've got. This wouldn't be possible without the support of everybody that supports us. So at the end of every video, we'll leave a slide with discount codes and names of all the companies that are wonderful and work with us. That's it for today. And I want to remind you that it doesn't matter where you come from, it only matters where you're going. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.